This video is now in session, and today let's talk about COVID-19. So in this video, I'm going to start off with COVID-19 and the easing of restrictions by governors in the United States. And then from there, I'm going to turn over to what I think will happen for COVID-19 in terms of how likely another spike could be and if it can be suppressed by summer of 2021. And then I'll talk about the political advantages of COVID-19 for Democrats at the end. So let's start off with the COVID-19 easing of restrictions. A couple of days ago, the Texas governor Greg Abbott and the Mississippi governor have announced that mask mandates will no longer exist, at least as of now, where right now you have to wear a mask in Texas, but in the future, or I guess starting from now, you don't have to wear a mask. I think that Greg Abbott and the Mississippi governor is right in easing restrictions for businesses, like allowing more businesses to open. But what I do think is premature, as a Houston doctor says, is the idea of eliminating the mask mandate. Because first of all, it's pretty ridiculous that we're still having an argument about whether you should wear masks or not. In terms of those who say that masks are good, masks are bad. They say that your freedom of speech is inhibited, and big government is trying to control what you want to do and what you can't do. So let me first dismantle both arguments. But first, I'll start with freedom of speech. You can speak through a mask. You can do everything in the First Amendment through a mask. You can speak. You have the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly. Everything in the First Amendment you're able to do. Right now, I'm literally talking through a mask. I'm speaking through a mask, and you can still hear me just fine. So unless if you have a breathing problem, then you should still, there's no reason for you not to wear a mask. Now, the second argument is that they say that big government that the government is overstepping their powers with this. Well, this isn't the first time that the government has done this kind of thing before. We have had to do stuff due to national security reasons or public health concerns. And in those periods of time, we were just fine with that. But suddenly now we're not. And as you can see, it's all because of politics. Literally every other country that has COVID-19 cases is the citizens in their country are wearing a mask. Places like Canada, Europe, even in more authoritarian or communist countries like China or Southeast Asia, all of these countries are wearing a mask. Everyone no one else debates whether a mask is effective or not. Yet in the United States, due to politics, we have to consider if a mask is actually useful or not. And the short answer is it is. So all of this is politics. The removing mask mandate, it's politics, and the easing of business is also politics. And unfortunately, because of politics, I expect that if more states and more governors who align themselves with having freedoms, then I suppose that another spike could happen. Currently, cases are going down. If we look at the COVID case map, here we can see ever since early January, the cases have fell, and it has plateaued. It has plateaued ever since February 19th, and from there we will probably stay flat. But if we have more states ease in mask mandates, not requiring masks to be worn out in public, then we can definitely see the cases start to rise. Now, for the and this is exactly deja vu. Literally, like this time period, we saw governors ease up restrictions, and you can see cases going up. Here, governors eased restrictions, cases going up, and the cases keep getting the vertex and the very top get bigger and larger and stronger. Now, there is an exception to that with this time though, because I do expect that when the spike happens, that it will be suppressed compared to this spike because of the vaccines. Currently, around 8% of Americans are fully vaccinated, and around 15% of Americans, as of recording this video, have at least one dose, which it's okay. It's still not the best distribution that could be possible, but luckily there is definitely help coming along the way with Johnson and Johnson and as well as Merck, who are both partnering with each other to produce more of the J&J vaccines for inoculation. And President Biden says that by the end of May, every U.S. adult has the opportunity to get a vaccine. Now, that's great and all. But there's one problem with that, which I hope does not happen, which is vaccination acceptability rates. For the past, I guess, several years, we've seen more and more anti-vaxxers, and especially parents who want their best for their child, but then as a result are saying that that their children and themselves should not get a vaccine due to its questionability. Now, obviously, this does come down to a question of trust in science or not, but when you talk about vaccines, if you feel like vaccines are harmful to you, or that there's an ability to get a very detrimental side effect from vaccines, first of all, that those kinds of stories are overstated. You're more likely to get struck by a lightning rather than die from a vaccine or get severely compromised due to a vaccine. And if you don't trust a vaccine, then at least take the time to understand how it works. What a vaccine does is it inserts either a dead version of the actual virus or just like the spike protein part of the virus, and then it simulates the body as if it was an actual virus and not just a dead virus. And then from there, it develops antibodies memory T cells and B cells that then go against future viruses that look exactly like the one that was given in the vaccine. So that's what vaccines do, and it's a very summarized way of saying how vaccines work. There are definitely documentaries you can watch if you want to know how the details of vaccines, but that's a question that will definitely have to be answered through time as to how accepted the vaccine will be, especially among Trump supporters who a lot of Trump supporters tend to not want to get a vaccine or don't want to get a vaccine. That's an area that could be hampered, but it's an area that definitely can be solved if Trump simply said that you should take the vaccine. That said, I don't think he's gonna say that. Now, what do I think will happen with COVID-19 in the summer and in the winter? So, in the summer, I think that COVID-19 would actually go pretty far down, and it's around here. And because a lot of Americans will be vaccinated by then, I expect that summer 2021 is going to be very similar to January of 2020, where we're still a little bit worried about COVID-19, but we can actually talk to each other in real person, where we could go back to school, where we can go back to the workplace, which could be frightening for several people who have to realize that they'll have to wake up earlier. Or maybe like you could actually travel now and you can go on airplanes safely, and that's because of the vaccines. Vaccines work, and it's shown time and time again that they work. So there isn't much of a reason to go against a vaccine. If you have questions about how a vaccine works, and if you're worried about taking a vaccine, just DM us or watch a documentary or take the time to look at how the vaccine works and how it's very effective. So, in the summer, I believe that cases will be suppressed. I do think, though, that cases in winter of 2021 will start to rise again, but it's not going to be anywhere near the levels of the summer surge in 2020, and I expect it to be around this level or maybe even this level, but not more than that. Obviously, this is all opinion and based on facts, but this is not the fact, and this might not happen. It's not 100% certain to happen. So don't quote me on any of this, especially if someone proves to be deadly. So that's what I think will happen in the short term and in the long term with COVID-19. And by early 2022 or maybe spring 2022, I expect most cases to be gone in the United States. And politically, that's very good for Democrats because Democrats need as much political strength as they can as they can in 2022. The reason why is if you've been watching my Redistricting Policy series, then you've seen that Republicans will be able to win the House majority just through redistricting because they control a lot of state redistricting processes, and as a result, they can control a lot of seats and gerrymander even more seats to themselves. So, Democrats definitely need to do well with COVID-19 in order to have in order to have Republicans, in order to have very moderate Republicans join the Democratic Party for the 2022 season. And in the Senate, I do think it will be beneficial to Democrats, and I do think that Democrats could actually gain seats in the 2022 map. Usually, the incumbent party, whichever party is in the White House, has a disadvantage in the both the midterm elections, both the House and the Senate, and as a result, many times the incumbent party loses their majority in the House and the Senate. We've seen this numerous times before. With the House elections, it's been pretty much every midterm year, and for the Senate, it's not as clear, but it does happen. But with COVID-19, and if Democrats don't bungle it, like Trump did in 2020, then I can expect an additional 2 seats for the Democratic Party in the 2022 map, and I could see a situation where Democrats could actually retain the majority in the House. And for a lot of our newer viewers, you have to realize how hard that is to do. It's very, very hard for a party to gain seats or not gain or lose seats in a midterm election if their party is in the White House. It's incredibly hard. The only time that the trend has been reversed was in 2002 after 9/11, where a lot of people started rallying behind George W. Bush and praised his leadership. And that's the kind of event that's needed in order to successfully retain the majority in the House. And that's what COVID-19 could potentially bring to Democrats by the end of this year. This is going back to the Senate. This is the map that I think would happen in a situation where COVID-19 was completely eradicated in the United States. It's not really two different map with with the current map. There's only like one additional net gain of seats for Democrats compared to the map right now, where only Democrats flip Pennsylvania. That said, Ohio becomes lean and North Carolina becomes tilt, and the fact that both of them start to get more better for Democrats means that they have an opportunity there. Obviously, it's not that many seats. It's only 4 seats. I mean, it's only 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 states that they can truly flip. I don't expect that they can flip Iowa or Florida. Or even South Carolina, but I do expect that there's a possibility where Democrats could flip these 4 seats. And if they manage to flip 2 seats, that's still going to be wonderful for them because they really only need 2 seats. Because if they get 2 seats, then they can break the filibuster, and they could remove the filibuster forever. Since right now, Kirsten Gillibrand. Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin oppose removing the filibuster, but John Fetterman, who's running as a Democrat for the Pennsylvania Senate, and whoever runs in the Democratic ticket for Wisconsin, both of them will most likely support ending the filibuster, and that's going to be good for Democrats, assuming that they're able to retain the majority in the House. So that's COVID-19 and what I think the COVID-19 could do politically and what will happen with the virus for the short term and the long term. So thank you for watching this video. This video is now adjourned, and I'll see you in the next one.